races, how to get involved, and how to donate. Today, we're here with the Tom Wells for Congress campaign, running in the Florida's 3rd District. I'm here with Tom and campaign manager Namya. Thank you so much for coming on.
Namya, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. My name is Nadia Singh. I am a 3rd-year student at the University of Florida, and I am a current campaign intern for Mr. Tom Wells here. Mr. Wells is definitely a candidate that is a beacon for change in what's going on in the community. He has so many innovative ideas that I think everyone is going to be excited to hear about.
Awesome. We went over some of these ideas. It's like really great progressive wish lists that we definitely all want in the country. So we're really rooting for you guys in Florida 3rd. And thank you for being on here to show the youth engagement that's going on in the district. Nadia, and Tom, could you talk a little bit more about your strategy for implementing these policies that you said you wanted to really speak to?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've been a progressive and active within my small circle of friends for 40 years. It wasn't until 2015 that I realized that Bernie brought out the fact that you could do this at scale, and that it was in my obligation to do those things which I was talking about. So when the Democratic candidate dropped out in 2016, right before the qualifying period ended, I jumped in and have been working about 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for the last 60 months. And I've done 50,000 conversations in my district. I know the messaging, I know what doesn't work, I know what does work, and I'm pretty sure that the Trump team is becoming a handicap, and my opponent, Kat Kamek, represents the Trump team and the sedition thereof. So the chance to flip an R13 district is there, and if it's not there, that's problematic. My background educationally is a PhD in theoretical physics, which meant I got a job as an electrical engineer because I had children on the way. You got to make a living. It's much more fun, it's much more productive to try to solve the real problems of the world than the problems of making one company's product a little bit better than another product.
Yeah, you mentioned, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot about we need to understand how we got here to this fascist precipice. And today there was a bomb scare at the Capitol building where a man needed to be persuaded out of his truck. So I did want to get both of your perspectives of what we could start with you, Tom, about what it's been like in Florida, 3rd District, because it is, Florida is a very pro-Trump state. And dealing with the ramifications after the Capitol riots, if you could speak more to that, this attack today and that Trump factor.
Well, yes, the real failure is not that the Trump team led fascism. The real failure is that the Democratic team did nothing about it. And that is the hard part to understand. The hard part to understand is that since the 70s, legalized corruption, bribery in campaigns has been the predominant method of being elected in both parties. And it's the same corporations funding both parties, and it's very easy to look at the failure to impeach Trump back in 2019 when we seated the squad as a failure of the Democratic Party, almost certainly impugned by their corporate sponsors saying, let's just see how far Trump will go. Well, at a certain point, you no longer have control of that process. And when you have 3 impeachments attempted without calling a single witness, when you know how to remove a president from office, as Carl Albert did in '73 with Richard Nixon, that you put every appointee, every person involved in the crimes thereof under oath on TV, and you wait 6 months for the support to collapse. And he went from 60% down to 24% before the Republican senators came forth and said, leave or we're done. Well, this was back before the Supreme Court started destabilizing democracy by legalizing bribery. Now, with legalized bribery, there's no one to say, oh, the people matter. Only the corporations matter. And if both parties are presenting you always with the choice between the lesser of two evils, what do? Well, you send progressives like Ayanna, Alexandria, Ilyan, Katie Parker, Katie Porter. You send those people to Congress, but you send them there to talk to the other congressmen and say, look, the planet will end in a dire climate chaos if we do not immediately stop doing the bidding of the corporations, stop the science denial, which is always for profit, and start working for the people who really can elect you, but they can only elect you if we have generous, clean public funding of elections. Now, how in the world do you pass that? 95% of the people there got there by corporate funding. Well, you have to make sure that people really love you immediately. Medicare for all can be done in 1 year. I worked with Dr. Gerald Friedman of UMass Amherst. There is a plan, and it will transition in 1 year. The federal government can do it with power and grace. We need 300,000 more doctors. And if you do that and big, clean, what I call straight arrow public funding, then you can get reelected and you can do what you doubtless at some point thought you were sent there to do. And you keep thinking perhaps that maybe next time I'll have a chance to do something. And in fact, Congress is actually considering things now like limiting the power of internet monopolies that I never thought they would get around to. So this is a moment of flux. The fascist moment in January, the clear view of the future of this nation, if we don't do something different, opens up the door to a revolution, a nonviolent revolution in Congress. And as MLK said so perfectly, that the end of nonviolent resistance is redemption. And I call my strategy of combining Medicare for all with public funding of elections acts of redemption. And if they do those two things, all they need to do is, there's still corporate money out there, but you can defeat the corporate money because you will have, with $200 voter vouchers for every voter in America, you'll have enough money to win in every district, $78 million in every district. And you can also enhance your probability of winning in two different categories. You can pass things like the Disclose Act, things like the Fairness Doctrine reinstated, multiple things. Alan Grayson actually has a list of 8 very clever things to do. And I approve of them all, but I can't remember them all. The other path is undoing everything that the Congress has done since 1980, reversing tax cuts, reversing the extensions of intellectual property and particularly pharmaceutical patents and stuff like that. And every one of those things that you reverse will make you more loved in your district, and we will go from a total disjoint. We can reverse everything like that. And if we don't do that, if we don't establish worldwide brotherhood, we have no chance of addressing the climate crisis. Because another thing Martin Luther King said, we will learn to live, and I say work together as brothers, or we will all die together as fools. And we are rushing down that fool path, and fool is spelled fossil, fool. So
thank you. That was a very succinct call to action. And I do want to bring Nanya in here before we leave and break. It's great to see, youth engaged in politics still. There's been a lot of disengagement, since the Democratic primary, when Bernie stepped down. What do you say now to people like, that are a little older, like, that say that, oh, we've tried the leftist thing, we tried to be bold, we need to listen to bipartisanship. You see, that's not
I'm
really what
sorry.
we're into here, but I do want to hear, what would you say? This is your planet too that you're fighting for, your future. Any response, Nanya, to yeah, moderate pushback?
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Wells said it as amazing as he could. It is never too late to make that local change in your community and to support progressive candidates and the change that we want to see. We have the ability and the resources to fight for it and to rally together.
Well, Tom, I really appreciate your call for Brotherhood of Mankind. I think thank you for adding that, Nanya. We do need to rally together. It's the only way we're going to combat climate change, and the only way we're going to be able to take on the fossil fuel industry. We're going to be wishing you best of luck here at the Collective Social Network. Before we break, where else can people find more information about you, Tom? Where can they sign up to get involved and help out? And what would you ask of people that are tuning in right now? What's an ask you would ask of them right now to help the campaign?
Well, the principal help is getting more volunteers because we talk to people. We did about 200,000 phone calls and text messages last time, but we started very late. We're about 8 months ahead of schedule now in terms of building a team, and we plan to win that way. We do see a clear path to victory. We will not be wasting your money if you donate to us. TomWellsForCongress.com has more on the platform, and every aspect of the platform has been actually made more nuanced and more comprehensive since we last updated the website. That is coming up, updates. I appreciate everyone's attention and the opportunities to communicate broadly.
Thank you so